Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I want to talk to you for a little bit about a project that I haven't really worked on in 6 months. I got it to a workable state, I got some things going for it, but then I just kinda, not so much forgot about it, but just had other things to take care of, and haven't really had the opportunity to think about it since, well, 6 months ago. But I've decided to have another look at it, and I figured, you know what, maybe I should tell someone about this, because it's in a workable enough state to get my point across and see if it's actually worth working on again. But anyway, this is what I call PlayStation Adventure Mode. I came up with this concept back around the time the PlayStation Classic was being launched, and it had 20 games in it, a lot of which weren't particularly great or not representative of how much of a hard hitter the PlayStation 1 was. And I was thinking about how I would make the PlayStation Classic better, and the obvious answer was more games, and someone's already taken care of that. But there was always that other little niggling thing I had about mini consoles. Now, I own a SNES Mini. Do I own any other mini consoles? I would have liked to have owned a Genesis Mini, but I can't actually find one of them. Not to mention the bloody TurboGrafx Mini. I would have liked to get my hands on one of them as well. But yeah, these have mountains of games, and you just never really know where to start. And not to mention, if you want to dig into a deeper past of a console, right? Find those like little hidden gems or games you would otherwise never hear be talked about. Like, for example, you play like a scrolling platformer like Contra on the Genesis, and it's like, is there anything else like this? And then you hear of a game like Alien Soldier, which wasn't on the North American version of the Genesis Mini, I believe. And you hear about them, you hear about all of those games, and you think, okay, let's add those all into another mini console. But then another thought occurred to me, which is something along the lines of, how do you slowly push out a game library so that someone can access it in the way that they want, while simultaneously not overloading them with 200 games? And this is what I came up with. It is an adventure mode of sorts, where you have the ability to play through a game library, figure out what you like, and go down in a specific direction. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But first, we're going to have to explain a certain website. Welcome to Retro Achievements. Retro Achievements is actually a really cool idea. What it does is, if you have a compatible emulator and you make an account on it, it actually lets you get achievements in retro games. So if I just head over to the PlayStation selection here, all of the users of this site have put together achievement lists for games. And these achievements can be anything from collecting certain collectibles to getting certain endings to what have you, because it's actually quite easy to do this, because the way cheats have worked in emulators for some time is that you've searched through the memory of the game, found what a piece of memory contains, like for the lives count, for example, and then you tell the emulator, hey, keep this at 99 all the time, and therefore you've got infinite lives. And it's another easy way to do, because you just look at a variable and say, hey, did they do that? Then give them this achievement. So, for example, when you pick up the baby blue, when you pick up the sapphire in Turtle Woods, it tells the game, hey, fill in this variable that determines whether or not you've got the blue gem, and then the emulator can be like, hey, he's got that, give him the achievement. And they've done that with a bunch of these, which is really cool. And so they've got achievements for a lot of different games. And my first thought to myself was, how can I exploit this? I don't mean it in that way. I mean it in, how can I use this to make a sort of game discovery system where you slowly go through games and unlock more as you go? Well, Retro Achievements has an unofficial API, and I've been tapping into that API in order to actually download achievements and determine what achievements you have and give you rewards for it. So if I go to, is it check achievements? Yeah, so it comes here, and using the API that has been made available on this website, it goes to these, it downloads the files, and then it scrolls through them to check whether or not you've got the achievements. And then, if you've got them, it'll give you a special bonus. It depends on what it is at the time. So instead of just waffling on about it some more, allow me to demonstrate. So if I just hit F5 here, it'll load up the game itself. It's very bare bones at the moment, if you don't mind me saying. But if I head back here, just to give you an example, we've got Crash Bandicoot 2 here, and I've beaten Ripperoo. And on Driver, I have... Where is it? It's here somewhere. Where is it? Hang on, I might need to refresh the page. There we go. Complete the car park job. The descriptions aren't particularly great on this site. So, if I head down to my options, you can see here that my Retro Achievements username has been detected and my API key has been detected. There's my username and there's my username there. You can't see my cursor, but I'm sure you understand the point. So if we hit escape to return to the main menu, actually hang on, before we do that, let's wipe out the save data. So, if we go into the adventure mode, and this is very clearly WIP, we can move around with the cursor keys, and when we get close to a specific game, it gets larger to let us know that's going to be the game that pops up when we do anything about it. So, for example, if we go to Crash Bandicoot 2... I kind of like this. Like, I did this neat little thing. Like, the cover's in the background, a memorable song from the game's playing. So, like, if we go over to Castlevania... What about Final Fantasy VII? And of course, you can't have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 without... Better stop that right away, because despite the fact that they rage against the machine, for some reason they really do like the machine when it makes them money. Anyway, if we go back up to Crash Bandicoot 2, you can see here that there is 3 different achievements. Now, I thought to myself, what would be the fairest way to award people for trying games without overly punishing them, without having to make them go through an entire game? So I came up with 3 different achievements. I came up with Try It, which is play a little bit of the game. Not too much, but usually you can get this goal done in under an hour. And in this example, it's Ripperoo. And then we have a Beat It, which is you get to an ending and you beat the game, but you don't 100% complete it. So, defeat the final boss, you need all 25 crystals, and I can't remember final boss, there we go, that would be the achievement I picked for that. And then collect all the crystals, relics, and gems, and that would be the craziest diamond, because that lets you view the secret ending. At least I believe that is the case. And so, as you can see here, I've defeated Ripperoo. I don't know if I should make the music loop or not, so I decided not to for the time being. Since I've defeated Ripperoo, if we hit the spacebar while we're in here, it'll check the achievements. It actually does this externally. It uses wget to download the file, and then it passes through it. Takes a little bit, but once it's done, you get the Tony Hawk special sound. It completes an achievement, but it didn't complete the other 2 because I haven't done them yet. So if I hit the escape key now, you might notice in the top right there was only 1 key before, but now there's 2. So every time, at least in this build, because I can change this up, I've got it coded so that it's here somewhere. Here it is. I've got it coded here so that I can change what the reward is for any particular achievement level. But the idea is that now that I've got 2 keys, I can open 2 doors. And you can't see them here, but there are actually invisible walls around this quote-unquote island. I'll show you. So if we go to rooms and its RM collection, you can see that there are some invisible walls here. So I can say, for example, say I manage to pull off Symphony of the Night, and then I leave a sign here saying, if you want more games like Symphony of the Night, pass through this door. And then you pass through the door, and it lets you go up, and imagine there's more games there, for example. You do Driver, and then that lets you go find Gran Turismo or something like that. That's the sort of logic I'm working with here, right? And we can do the same thing with Driver as well. So if we go to Driver, hit the spacebar, and you can hear the main menu music going in the background there. It'd be nice to have like a description on the right with like a release date and a description of the game, and then on the left maybe like an embedded YouTube video of the game being played or something. But yeah, achievement completed, I got another key. And then we can demonstrate how to actually earn the achievements. Now, I was actually able... I remember first when I made this, I made it so that you could launch an emulator directly from the game and then run the game in question and then just play through it. It wouldn't be able to, like, communicate that you did the achievement back and forth, but yeah. So let's actually go and earn an achievement just for the fun of it. So, Siphon Filter. You might recognize that. It's the, It's the first couple of seconds of the main theme is actually my channel intro. But anyway, my Siphon Filter achievements. I've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 all on hard, but I haven't completed Mission 5, and I know for a fact Mission 5 is the one we need to beat. So save Washington, D.C. It's a showdown at the Freedom Memorial. So fine, we'll just go away from that for now. And we'll open up Duck Station. Get the game booted. Load a game, because it's at the Freedom Memorial. And we'll just go beat the crap out of Anton Gurdu and earn ourselves an achievement, eh?
Anton Gurdu. I hope Romer's paying you enough to die for him.
Gabriel Logan. Always the optimist. Look around, Logan. This hall contains a mosaic depicting the entire history of your country's wars and aggression. We are about to make an addition to it.
I don't think so, Gurdu. It ends here.
Yes, okay, thank you, Leon. So, yep, I've, whoa! He is on hard mode, so it's no wonder that he, no wonder that he's so quick on the draw, but thankfully I'm faster. I believe if I go far enough around, he'll start coming back the other way, but it's alright, I've done this before. Can't actually hear the sound all that well, so I don't know when I'm making him blow up, but never mind, there we go. So Freedom Memorial Hard, that's not actually the one I'm tracking. The one I'm tracking is the one that pops up after the cutscene, which is that one. So if we head on back to here now, we refresh the page. It counts here. So if we go back to Siphon Filter, and there we go. There are some downsides to this system, mainly that the games that you actually want to add in need to have achievements added to them, and they also need to not be kind of stupid. There are a couple of games I ran into that had that problem. I remember this quite thoroughly. But I genuinely think this is a cool idea, because you can spend like a lot of time going through a library, adding games to this sort of thing, and just making like, as it's called, an adventure. And you can even add bonus games that have like no achievements, but it's just like, hey, go try this. This is cool. We felt the need to include this. I think I remember one of the reasons why I stopped working on this version back in May was because some of the games I planned on putting in didn't actually have achievements that were, well, didn't have achievements at all, for one thing. But I was having a look around, and while the PlayStation doesn't have that many, the Nintendo 64 certainly does. It's got, like, all the games I can think of that would be worth putting in this, and even some that don't. And you could easily, like, put all of these into a sort of different version of this adventure mode with, like, a different set of games in it. And then just have these bonus games be like, hey, pay 3 keys to get a bonus or something along those lines. Or make it so that games get added randomly. Or you could do a retro game challenge thing where games are added on the timeline as they go on and you need to earn a certain amount of achievements to progress. Or something along those lines. Just something kind of neat that wouldn't be possible if something like retro achievements didn't exist. So I guess the question is this worth continuing? Is this worth working on? Because I'm not entirely sure if it is. I'm not entirely sure how many people would be interested. I mean, it does work. It clearly works. That's not the problem. Not to mention the whole thing about you'd basically have to go tell people to download an entire ROM collection in order to actually get this sort of thing working, which, to be fair, isn't that hard these days, but it does minimize the amount of attention that something like this could have. And also the question is how many people would bother? How many people would just be like, nah, I don't emulate to discover new games, I just use it to play all my old favorites or what have you. But I did put a fair amount of work into this. Like, as far as I'm aware, all of these games work. So like if I just head on back out to the source code, we can see in Workspace 2 that I've actually got this database here that has like the launch date, all of the achievements, and the sprite and the music that is used for all of them. Excuse me. And I'm using like an extension here that makes it really easy to just read the script. If only I had something that would let me more easily go on the internet and grab the file and then download it, but oh well. But yeah, that's PlayStation Adventure Mode, or just the Adventure Mode concept that I think of it so far. Is this worth going on with? Is this worth producing into something a little bit more, not so much interesting, but like, is it worth turning this into a proper thing, worth releasing? Because I honestly don't know. I don't know how many people would be interested. But yeah, that's it. This has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.